Shameful, and he's at the White House weekly.
81 times over Howard. You looked that up the other day. Yeah, I mean Dinesh, virtually ankle bracelet at home, and and the race baiter extraordinaire, who is Obama's one of his BFFs. I mean, claims that he was integral part of selecting the next attorney general at the time. He just continues to run around free and spout his mouth off, dude.
Yeah, it is. At some point, do you think that this guy will bear some sort of consequences for his dipfeekery?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, that's a great question, and I've thought about it. I mean, obviously not under a Democrat regime. And again, those of you who know me know that I say Democrat versus Democratic on purpose because today's Democrats are far from democratic. But I don't know. So let's kind of play forward. Let's assume that whomever, Scott Walker, I hope, assumes the presidency in 2016. I don't know. I mean,
Hmm.
would it be this kind of third rail, to an extent of politics to go after the the civil rights leader of our time, Al Sharpton? Dude, I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't that feel so good?
Oh, there's just no question. Um, and again in this post, yeah, I put several links in there. But I mean, just personally himself, just to New York. What did I see here? He owes like in excess of $560,000 in taxes,
Right.
and 4.5 million plus to the feds. And this dude's walking around free and the king of his own little kingdom. It just is incredible. And genius of you to point out the contrast between him and Dinesh D'Souza.
Right. Well, obviously that goes without saying.
So
I
you
mean,
had
the
a
genius part.
Yeah, well, yeah, but for the new listeners, I had to just kind of bring them along the curve that you are in fact a genius. Um, so so you so
Sorry.
it's no, it's cool. So you and you're he's laughing, but inside he's going yes. But
Right.
all right, so you had another Sharpton angle.
No, it was just Julianne Melchior. I mean, she's the one that wrote the National Review article,
All right,
and that she digs in and exposes this kind of stuff. I don't know. I saw the National Review article middle of the night last
I'll
night,
link
and
to it in the post. But yeah.
yeah, and by the time I put it in the thread, and by the time Kyle responded back to it, you had already had your thing up.
So your pitch was not timely listened to.
That is correct. It was at like, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning California time that I suggested it. So, way to go. Good grab, dude.
And for those listening, a little bit of inside baseball. Yeah, there's a whole process that the writers have to go through, and I do. Michael, I'm sorry, dude. I don't follow that pitch thing.
Right.
I've never opened it, so my apologies out of not knowing, dude.
That's
And
not a problem.
and I'm being serious. I mean, I am because that's frustrating. I know.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think why that's not. I mean, how can MSNBC keep him uh, in his job at this point? Right?
Well, yeah, but they don't care. In fact, they
Job.
probably love it, dude, because he's he speaks for the injustice, the racism in this country, and the more notoriety he has. I mean, they don't care. I mean, I thought at one point early on when Comcast bought NBC that sanity might trickle down to MSNBC. But it's no different than it was before the acquisition. If anything, it's worse. So no, I mean Sharpton is the Martin Luther King Jr. of our time. Wink, wink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, this past weekend, by the way, there's a couple more things I want to talk about. I want to
Sure.
get this Obama threatening Homeland Security paychecks.
Yes.
But I did want to mention this one thing. That I think I may do a video about it later today. This past Saturday was a big anniversary for McDonald's in Russia. Did you see this story?
I did. And before you continue, let's pimp you because we never pimp ourselves that much. But your YouTube channel is taken off. So people, how do they get that?
Just go to YouTube and type in Michael Hausam, Hausam, and my YouTube channel comes right to the top.
Perfect.
Yeah, and there's kind of two things going on there. Three things going on there. Number one is videos that I use for IJ Review articles. Although I have two copyright strikes against me there, so I have to be careful about that.
Ooh.
Secondly, original videos that I do that are called House Rules video that are some sort of commentary. And then thirdly, I have another thing for any kind of media appearances. For example, as soon as we're off the show today, I'm driving down to San Diego to be on One American News Network as a panelist. And within the next couple of days, I'll have the video of my appearance there up on that site.
And I have to add, far be it for me to compliment you, but the videos that you do, the original videos that you do, are very good, dude.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Okay, continue.
Okay, so on January 31st, this past Saturday, was the 25th anniversary of the opening of the very first McDonald's in what was at the time the USSR.
Yeah. I actually remember that, by the way, because that was monumental.
Oh, it was a huge deal.
Yeah.
What was particularly fun for me about it is I actually had lunch in that McDonald's the summer after it opened.
Oh, dude, that is actually very cool.
Yeah, so this coming July, it will be 25 years since I had a couple of quarter pounders and Big Macs.
Okay. Not all at one sitting.
Well, actually, you know what? I did, or in fact, they don't call them quarter pounders there. One of the things we did, this was for a business class that I took semester overseas. We went from, oh gosh, we were in Finland, Russia, all through Western Europe. But, think about it. Back in 1990, it was still the Soviet Union. We took a train from Helsinki, Finland, to what was at the time Leningrad. Now they've moved it back to the name St. Petersburg.
Right.
But when I was there, we took a military train from Helsinki, Finland, into Leningrad. Stopped at the border. Soviet troops going through, checking all of our papers. We spent a week in Leningrad and basically starved.
I would have loved every second of that, dude. I'm jealous.
Dude,
I'm jealous.
It was so amazing. And then when we got into Moscow, we spent a week then in Moscow, and all of us went down to the McDonald's because we knew, there was no places to eat any sort of acceptable food in Leningrad for a week. The hotel we were staying at was absolutely disgusting. We found one little store that accepted hard currency, and we could buy cup of soup. That was the only food that we had for a week that we could actually eat. Cup of soup. So we waited almost 2 hours in line at the McDonald's and ordered Big Macs to our heart's content. And one of the things we did for our international marketing class, we had to go into McDonald's in every single country that we were in. So we went into McDonald's in Finland, Russia, Austria, Switzerland, France, Belgium, England. Where else did we go? We even went into one. What's those little tiny countries in Europe? Well, they're like city states.
Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we did is we had to compare the menus, the cost, and back then, of course, there was no euro. So we were comparing rubles to, all the various different currencies, the Deutschmark and the Swiss franc.
So converting then, how were the prices relative to here?
almost exclusively more expensive across the board. Then we also had to compare menus. Like in the UK and in Germany, you could get beer in a McDonald's. In France, you
Sign
could
me
get
up.
wine.
Sign me up.
Right. Now, the beer wasn't any good and the wine wasn't any good,
Is
but
better than Diet Coke with a Big Mac.
yes, better than Diet Coke. And I forget that there was a special name in Europe that they used for the quarter pounder.
When I was in France, by the way, I did not go in one, but I noticed several McDonald's, and they had the McDonald's thing, the arch and McDonald's, and then underneath it said hamburger restaurant. I do remember that, but I did not go in one.
Well, what was the other thing that was interesting is that McDonald's completely controlled the entire supply chain.
What they do.
So, yes, the farming methods used for the potatoes, how the potatoes themselves were grown, how those potatoes were delivered to the supplier, how the potatoes were cut, the type of grease that was used,
This is what
the
they do, man.
potatoes.
It's I know a McDonald's franchisee, and he actually had a Subway before. He said McDonald's by far is more controlling than anyone.
Well, the thing was, um, is when I'm in Moscow. So Moscow, they had been what? It had been 6 months, something like that. Um, oh, you know what it was called? It was called the McRoyal. The quarter pounder was called the McRoyal.
Wow.
Like they had the Big Mac, and then they had the McRoyal was the quarter pounder. Anyway, the fries at a 6 month old restaurant in Moscow were indistinguishable from
Wow.
the fries here.
What about the beef?
Exactly the same. I could tell absolutely no difference
So
whatsoever.
if you had been blindfolded and didn't know where you were, but you were at a McDonald's, it would have been indistinguishable from eating one in LA.
Absolutely. And this was the beautiful thing for me about it as a capitalist. People will decry McDonald's as being evidence of American cultural or American economic imperialism.
Right.
Exactly the opposite case. What they're doing is they're creating a product. So the supply, like classical economics would predict, supply precedes demand,
Right.
and then demand will or will not follow depending on the appetite, literally in this
Sure,
case,
sure, sure.
that the appetite that the consumers had. And in Russia, people were literally willing to give up 2 hours a day to stand in line to what McDonald's. I mean, McDonald's wasn't forcing anybody to go in and buy the
Sure,
Royale.
yeah. Yeah.
It was just a beautiful example of not economic imperialism, but a beautiful example of the creativity of capitalism
25 years ago, man.
25 years ago.
McDonald's kind of on hard times right now. I mean, relatively speaking, we don't have time to talk about that because we're under 2 minutes, but definitely an American institution, dude. I remember when I was a young lad, there was a Tom McCann shoe store. We lived on the Illinois border. My mother would take us over there to buy shoes, and then we would then go to the closest, well, the only McDonald's in the area at the time. Hamburgers were 15 cents, as were fries. And then later on, remember the commercial. Hamburger, fries, and a drink for under $1. So definitely an American institution. So
Okay,
that,
I want you to watch what I'm about to do right here, Mike. I'm going to circle back to a previous topic.
and dude,
Uh,
we're coming up on a minute. So go ahead.
when I was growing up, guess who owned the San Diego Chargers?
Ray Kroc.
Ray Kroc.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
You see what I just did right there?
You did, dude.
I just closed the 30-minute loop.
Dude,
Boom.
dude, do you have White Castles out there?
No.
Okay. Do you know what they are?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
You can
Yeah,
get them in the freezer section of the grocery store, but
yeah,
they
but
don't have
they have
actual
restaurant.
drive-throughs.
Yeah, they have restaurants. I remember them being 8 cents. I'm 142 years old. Listen, we're under 30 seconds. Take us out of a really fun show, man.
Okay, folks. Once again, we appreciate your listening. Tell your friends to listen. Go to therightmics.us, pull up our blog post, post that on your social media sites. We would appreciate that. We will be back tomorrow. Thanks for listening.